This is Botswana, a country in southern Africa that is 50 times bigger than Connecticut, but has a population of only 2.3 million. This small nation has made one of the greatest economic turnarounds of any post-colonial country and is an African success story along with Rwanda. Botswana gained independence from Britain in 1966. It was technically not a British colony, but a protectorate, so it was governed by native Africans and not a colonial government like its neighbors, South Africa and Rhodesia. Its first president was Seretse Khama, a prince of the indigenous Bamangwato tribe. Khama was a great leader and a pragmatist. He did not try to force any ideology except for democracy. Khama could have gotten along well with South Africa and Rhodesia, but his wife Ruth Williams was white, and the racist governments of South Africa and Rhodesia did not want to have relations with a leader who was in a mixed-race marriage. Khama inherited leadership of one of the most undeveloped countries in the world. In 1966, Botswana only had a little over 7 miles of paved roads. It also only had 22 residents that were college graduates, and only around 100 residents that were high school graduates. Prior to its independence, it did not have a formal government and was only an area that was inhabited by tribes that lived off the land and herded cattle and farmed. Botswana was the second poorest country in the world. But shortly after its independence, diamonds were discovered. Diamonds are the reason for Botswana's rapid economic growth. Just like oil in Saudi Arabia and natural gas in Iran, Botswana used it to build up its economy. Botswana's mining sector makes up about 35% of its GDP today. In most cases, having such abundant and valuable natural resources in such an underdeveloped country would mean exploitation by foreign companies, or Botswana would become a kleptocracy like many other African nations. But because of Seretse Khama's exceptional leadership, he set the precedent for Botswana's government to be efficient and serve the people. Today it is ranked as the least corrupt country in Africa. Botswana's low corruption is one of the main drivers of its economic growth. Botswana's economy grew at an average of 10% from 1966 to 1980, making it the fastest growing economy in the world during that period. Also, because of the competent government, there has been no revolutions, civil wars, coups, or genocides in Botswana, unlike some of its fellow southern African countries. Shortly after independence, Botswana partnered with the South African diamond company, De Beers. De Beers and Botswana made a mining company named Debswana in 1969. De Beers and Botswana each held a 50% stake in the company, and for every $1 of diamond sales, 70% went to Botswana. After serving as Botswana's first president and making huge strides to develop his home country, Seretse Khama died of pancreatic cancer in 1980 at 59 years old. He had just been re-elected for a third presidential term with over 75% of the vote. Although only having the 22nd highest GDP for African countries, Botswana is ranked 4th in Africa for GDP per capita, purchasing power parity, and Botswana is still one of the fastest growing economies in the world in terms of GDP per capita.